Call the meeting to order. For the record, the media has been notified in accordance with the requirements of the Freedom of Information Act. And I'll ask that the roll be called. Ms. Davis?
Mr. Bryson?
Here.
Mr. Coleman?
Here.
Mr. Dove?
He's here.
Mr. Dozier?
Here.
Mr. Duncan?
Here.
Mr. Elmore?
Here.
Mr. Freeman?
Here.
Mr. Dunn?
Here.
Mr. Jackson?
Here.
Mr. Jones?
Here.
Mr. Keels?
Here.
Ms. Leatherman?
Here.
Mr. Lee?
Here.
Mr. McIntyre?
Here.
Mr. Moore?
Here.
Dr. Kelly?
Here.
You have Mr. Dove, Ms. Hartung on the phone? Okay.
Yes.
Who's on the cell phone?
Paul. Doug.
I am.
How about mute it?
Will do.
Thank you. Sorry. Because you have the minutes from our August 1st meeting. Do I have any additions or corrections? Hearing none, do I have a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
Second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Passed unanimously. The Executive Affairs met this morning. We are recommending the adoption of Resolution 5-119. Read the resolution. This for the naming of the Hugh and Jean Leatherman Medical Education Complex. Whereas the Honorable Hugh and Mrs. Jean Leatherman are distinguished citizens of South Carolina who are longtime supporters of Francis Marion University, the PD region, and the Florence community. And whereas Senator Leatherman was first elected to public office in 1967 and has served in the South Carolina Senate since 1981, where he has held numerous leadership positions, including Finance Committee Chair, President pro tempore, and President pro tempore emeritus, and whereas Senator Leatherman has been a trustee and a trustee emeritus of this Board of Trustees since 1988, and whereas Senator and Mrs. Leatherman tirelessly serve the citizens of South Carolina and residents of Florence through their substantial and continuing efforts to provide educational opportunities, economic advancement, and cultural enrichment, and whereas Mr. and Mrs. Leatherman are passionate advocates of medical, nursing, and health care education to better meet the needs of South Carolinians, especially in the PD region, and whereas Mrs. Leatherman contributes to the well-being of the citizenry through her extensive civic, community, and philanthropic efforts focused on improving the lives of people throughout the PD, and whereas Senator Leatherman provides effective leadership at the local, regional, and state levels to develop collaborative strategies and effect creative solutions to enhance developmental growth and prosperity, and whereas Francis Marion University desires to acknowledge these contributions with a permanent tribute, be it therefore resolved that the Board of Trustees of Francis Marion University hereby names the Hugh and Jean Leatherman Medical Education Complex. This comes unanimously from the Executive Committee. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
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 We next move to Academic Affairs and Accreditation.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Our committee met earlier today, and on our agenda was Resolution 6-19, approving the Bachelor of Arts and Bachelor of Science in Performing Arts at Francis Marion University. A copy of that is full resolution is in your board packet. Following a report from Keith Best, Chair of the Fine Arts Department, who basically explained that this will combine the music industry and theater programs into one performing arts program. And also, he noted that this has been met with great excitement by the students enrolled in those programs. It was unanimously approved by our committee, and I would like to put it before the board for adoption of the resolution at this time.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Passes unanimously.
Mr. Chairman, we did have a number of outstanding reports, and I'd like to just highlight a few of those. The provost shared with us that our chemistry degree program received approval from the American Chemical Society that will carry that program through 2025. That's the equivalent of basically an accreditation. Mechanical engineering is all set to start in January, so we're looking forward to that. Faculty governance report noted that they will be transitioning to total online course evaluations beginning in the fall of next year, which will save a significant amount of time and money and resource. So looking forward to that. We also received a report from enrollment management with some very exciting numbers. Overall enrollment for the fall is up almost 8% compared to fall of 2018. She also reported that the incoming freshman class is 96% South Carolinian, with 61% coming from the PE region, and our enrollment of 4261 is a record high for the university, so that's outstanding. Looking ahead to fall of 2020, total applications are up 16% from this time last year, and total acceptances are up 37% from this time last year. Looking specifically at freshman applications for fall 2020, those are up by 8%, and freshman acceptances are up by 23%. So really, really outstanding numbers there. We are looking forward to commencement on December 14th, and the registrar's office reports that we'll have 273 undergrads and 37 graduate students who will graduate at that time. And that, Mr. Chairman, concludes my report.
Any questions, Mr. Bryson? Any no question, Mr. Bryson? We next go to Development Alumni, Mr. Moore.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We had a great meeting with Development Alumni Committee today. First off, we heard from Florence Stanton regarding the Development Foundation report. There's a few events we wanted to note celebrating the 50th year of the university. Obviously, Doug's Day today at 5:30, the gates open. We hope everybody will be there. Christmas party, there's a community Christmas party on December 5th and Children's Santa party on December 11th. Homecoming again coming up on February 1st. Florence Symphony coming up on February 10th. And the 50th Gala is on April 7th, and tickets are $100 each, and all proceeds go to the First Generation Fund. And speaking of the First Generation Fund, they've raised nearly $400,000 and are continuing the fundraising effort. Recent gifts include $89,000 in a Winnebago from Science South, and Hood Temple recently donated a piano and $10,000. In addition, there's been a $50,000 grant awarded by Duke Energy for an aquatic research vessel for the Ecology Center, and the Education Foundation building, the office of the Education Foundation has moved over to the Stokes Administration building, and Hope Health has signed a lease that started on October 1st that will expand the footprint in that facility. As far as alumni affairs, we heard from Lee Doherty, and they've had several events since we last convened. They had events in Greenville, Florence, Columbia, and an event in Charleston where over 100 alumni showed up, and they're looking forward to getting back down there. Additionally, they've done departmental events. They've got upcoming commencement reception, homecoming alumni reception at the Art Gallery, and the tailgating reception, which last year drew between 1,600 and 1,700 people in bad weather. So they're looking forward to a larger crowd for that this year. And finally, we heard from Teresa Ramey on the regional and community programs. The Fred Shaheen Nonprofit Leadership Institute and Local Government Leadership Institute are both going on for continuum down at Lake City. We've got some events coming up at the PAC. December, we've got the South Carolina Dance Theater presenting the Nutcracker. We've got a Goal of Christmas on December 13th, and the Florence Symphony Orchestra presents Holiday Pops on December 16th. The University Place Gala has had a successful opening. They currently have a water media exhibit until the 20th of December. And the Richardson Center for the Child has been getting great reviews, and they've recently launched the United Way campaign. And that concludes my report, Mr. Chairman.
Any question, Mr. Moore? Hearing no question, Mr. Moore. Mr. Gunn, Finance and
Thank you, Mr.
Facilities.
Chairman. The Finance and Facilities Committee met this afternoon. The committee received a report about the annual audit conducted at Marvin and Jenkins accounting firm, and they provided an unmodified opinion which indicates no concerns The audit concluded the financial statements, federal programs, and NCAA reviews. All university finances are in great shape. As of October 31st, the fall revenues were up by $348,000 over last year, and expenditures to date are at the anticipated levels. The committee received a report regarding the capital projects that are underway. The Honor Center and Medical Education Complex are under construction and on schedule. The site work is underway on the land for the Freshwater Ecology Center, and the procurement process is beginning for the selection of a design-build team. The approval process for the bonds to fund the Smith University Center upgrades and Fieldhouse athletic facility renovations is underway in great shape. Thank you. That is my report.
Question, Mr. Gunn. Hearing no question, Mr. Gunn, we go to Student Life and Athletics. Ms. Leatherman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We had a very informative meeting. Our student government president, Kendra, gave us a great report on some of the SGA activities and initiatives. So far, they've been very busy. They've had elections and they have 8 new senators. One of the biggest things they did is they did a mental health awareness week that got 400 people initially in their kickoff, and then every event after that each week had 30 to 50 students opportunity to talk about a lot of issues around mental illness. The SGA food pantry got started. That will be free for those that need food and supplies and that type of thing. And then Dr. Kennedy reported on the student life. Sounds like great things are happening with the Grill After Dark that meets twice a month on Wednesdays. And they also had a great turnout for FMU's Got Talent. Sounds like Mike should go national based on what Dr. Kennedy said. A lot of good talent here. They did a Step Africa show at the PAC Center, which is a multicultural event. And then they started to tie in with athletics, and they want to do this more and more. They did a color run this year with over 100 people. Then it's followed by Oktoberfest and then the soccer games afterwards. So he wants to do more and more of those kind of activities, trying to bring more and more students into athletics even and being involved in that. The Glow Festival was pretty impressive, 2,000 attendees. And about 1,500 of those, he reports, probably from the community, supporting a lot of the student organizations and stuff. Sounds like a lot of fun. Then Murray reported on athletics, and we have 255 student athletes, which is a record number this year. Men's soccer team has done an outstanding job. They're 13-4-1. They were ranked in the top 25 during 6 weeks. They've got a game Friday, is that right, Murray? Mm-hmm. Tomorrow?
Yes.
And that's very important for them to advance in the tournament. Volleyball had an improvement this year, 5 wins, better than they've done in the past, 18-12. We lost the women's soccer coach, Lindsay Morgan, resigned Monday, so we're in search of a new soccer coach, a women's soccer coach. So far, fundraising pledges this year of $243,000 with a goal of $325,000. Homecoming has already been mentioned, really big this year, obviously, with the 50th anniversary. The national championship teams in golf and women's basketball are going to be having a reunion of sorts during that time, trying to bring back all of those players. One other thing he did mention I thought was very important is that this was the first year they started a mentor program for incoming freshmen, and it went really well. They're getting good feedback from the mentors and the student athletes. We mentioned the changes that hopefully are going to occur in the University Center. The video board should be up in the gym by the spring commencement. So that's one of the things they hope to have happen with that. And that concludes my report, Mr. Chairman.
Your question, Ms. Leatherman. Hearing no question, Ms. Leatherman, we now move on to the President's report. Dr. Carter.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, a short report today because I know everyone wants to get over to Doug's Day, something we're all looking forward to, and probably an appropriate time for us to pause and recognize Doug Smith and everything he did in founding this university. We tried to structure Doug's Day around, which will become our Founders Day, around the day that we could most conveniently have the celebration closest to Doug's birthday. And I think it worked out well. I was talking to a trustee in the hall a few minutes ago about the little pins that we're wearing Doug would like this. And he would respond with that such a characteristic Doug Smith chuckle with those kinds of things. And then a little modesty, because Doug never liked to have a big deal made about him. So now that Doug's gone, we can make a lot of big deals about everything he did in founding this university. Let me go on, Mr. Chairman, and thank the board for the two resolutions that you passed today. The resolution for the Bachelor of Arts, Bachelor of Science, and Performing Arts is a critical change with regard to degree programs in those two areas, theater and music. I want to thank the provost, Allie Stedman, Keith Best, and the fine arts faculty for coming together and putting these things together in a way that provides a clear career path for the men and women who go through here and want to major in the performing arts. This will enhance the quality of their education, and down the road I think it'll open up a lot more employment paths for them than would have otherwise been the case. So my compliments to the board for embracing this idea and passing it. Chairman, I'd be remiss if I didn't pause for a second and thank you for naming the medical education complex after Gene and Hugh. You know, there are a lot of people that have been very supportive of the direction we've gone downtown with our health and medical programs and nursing programs, and you know, Dr. Floyd and Judge Haig Porter, the Bruce and Lee Foundation, certainly Mayor Wakil and City Council, and the entire delegation, Philip Lowe and Jay Jordan and Representative Alexander and Roger Kirby. They've all been strong supporters, but you know, many of those buildings downtown are synonymous with Hugh Leatherman and the battles that Hugh has waged to get support for this university. And I know many of you are sitting back and thinking, well, he's chair of finance. Just because he's chair of finance is one reason it's doubly difficult sometimes for him to get appropriations to come back into the district. It's the kind of thing that he has to work through carefully and delicately, and that building, which will be the future of many of our health programs, is a tribute to the way that he's been able to work the process to get the support that this university so desperately needs. You know, and Gene, you know, if you got an hour, let me go on and tell you about how deeply Gene loves this university and all the things that Gene does for this university. I remember very, very well, about 3 or 4 years ago, the Leathermans were hosting a president from another university and his wife at their house one afternoon. And they invited me and Folly over to join them, and we joined them. And the other president was going on and on about where they were drawing students from. They were heavily drawing students from the Northeast, and the quality of and Gene just cut them off and said, let me make the point perfectly clear. You're a public university. You serve the people of South Carolina. You need to try to be a little more like Francis Marion. That was a nice conversation. Pardon me, but I remember it very, very well. Finally, Mr. Chairman, I want to conclude just by talking about one thing that showed up in the press this past week. Lauren and the Morning News gave us great coverage on that, and I want to tell you how appreciative I am of that. That's our freshman supplement. We're very, very proud of this program, and you know, this is a program that Alyssa and Jamie and Kim Elizor worked hard to put together. And let me just explain this very quickly. What this program is, it takes entering freshmen next year who qualify for federally based financial aid, specifically Pell Grants. And it says what they bring to the table, the Pell Grant and any other support they can bring. We put that on the table, and then the university, Francis Marion, will fill in the difference. So for those need-based students that come here on our freshman supplement, that means their tuition will be taken care of their freshman year, and they'll incur no debt. what a wonderful door opening for men and women across the PD who were $3,000 or $4,000 short of getting to college simply because they couldn't put the whole package together. Well, this staff, Alyssa, Jamie, Kim, found a way to put that together. And this board, of course, is supported with the financial contributions to find a way to do that. Now, let me also point out that the First Gen Fund will be a big part of that. And the money, many of the dollars we raise in that First Generation Fund will go towards supporting much of that freshman supplement, because it's no surprise to anybody in this room that a great number of those kids that need financially based support are First Generation college students. But hey, that's one of the reasons Doug would have been so proud of what this university has become and the direction that we're taking. So, Mr. Chairman, on that note, I'll conclude my report.
Thank you, Dr. Carter. Any questions for Dr. Carter? Hearing no questions for Dr. Carter, we have no unfinished business. In new business, we do need to have an executive session. Purpose of the executive session, we discuss a personnel matter only.
Make a motion, we go into executive session.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Do I have a motion, we come out of executive session? Second. We're now in executive session. We went into executive session to discuss a personnel matter. No action was taken. The executive committee has brought a motion to the full board that we extend Dr. Carter's contract for 3 years till 2026, and that we today grant him the title of President Emeritus of Francis Marion University. This will extend his contract a total of 7 years. And we've all gone over the terms, and we're not going to recite the terms. But do I have a motion to approve, that allow me to sign the contract, Dr. Carter?
So moved.
Second. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? There being none opposed, that motion passed unanimously. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All right.
All in favor? We're out of here.